The Land of Heart's Desire by William Butler Yeats. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Characters.
Martine Bruin, read by Noel Badrian.
Bridget Bruin, his wife, read by Liberty Stump.
Sean Bruin, read by Chris Marcellus.
Maière Bruin, wife of Sean, read by Amanda Friday.
Father Hart, read by Algy Pug.
A Fairy Child, read by Kristingj.
Narration recorded by Chuck Williamson. Scene: in the barony of Kilmacowan, in the county of Sligo, at a remote time. Scene: a room with a hearth on the floor in the middle of a deep alcove to the right. There are benches in the alcove and a table, and a crucifix on the wall. The alcove is full of a glow of light from the fire. There is an open door facing the audience to the left, and to the left of this a bench. Through the door one can see the forest. It is night, but the moon or a late sunset glimmers through the trees and carries the eye far off into a vague, mysterious world. Martine Bruin, Sean Bruin, and Bridget Bruin sit in the alcove, at the table, or about the fire. They are dressed in the costume of some remote time, and near them sits an old priest, Father Hart, in the garb of a friar. There is food and drink upon the table. Maière Bruin stands by the door, reading a yellow manuscript. If she looks up, she can see through the door into the wood.
Because I bade her go and feed the calves, she took that old book down out of the thatch, and has been doubled over it all day. We should be deafened by her groans and moans, had she to work as some do, Father Hart. Get up at dawn like me, and mend and scour, or ride abroad in the boisterous night like you, the picks and blessed bread under your arm.
You are too cross.
The young side with the young.
She quarrels with my wife a bit at times, and is too deep just now in the old book. But do not blame her greatly. She will grow as quiet as a puff-ball in a tree, when but the moons of marriage dawn and die for half a score of times.
Their hearts are wild, as be the hearts of birds, till children come.
She would not mind the griddle, milk the cow, or even lay the knives and spread the cloth.
I never saw her read a book before. What may it be?
I do not rightly know. It has been in the thatch for 50 years. My father told me my grandfather wrote it. Killed a red heifer and bound it with the hide. But draw your chair this way, supper is spread. And little good he got out of the book, because it filled his house with roaming bards and roaming ballad-makers and the like, and wasted all his goods. Here is the wine. The griddle bread's beside you, Father Hart. Colleen, what have you got there in the book, that you must leave the bread to cool? Had I, or had my father, read or written books, there were no stockings stuffed with golden guineas to come, when I am dead, to Sean and you.
You should not fill your head with foolish dreams. What are you reading?
How a princessy Dane, a daughter of a king of Ireland, heard a voice singing on a May eve like this, and followed, half awake and half asleep, until she came into the land of Faery, where nobody gets old and godly and grave, where nobody gets old and crafty and wise, where nobody gets old and bitter of tongue. And she is still there, busied with a dance, deep in the dewy shadow of a wood, or where stars walk upon a mountain top.
Persuade the colleen to put by the book. My grandfather would mutter just such things, and he was no judge of a dog or horse, and any idle boy could blarney him. Just speak your mind.
Put it away, my Colleen. God spreads the heavens above us like great wings, and gives a little round of deeds and days, and then come the wrecked angels and set snares, and bait them with light hopes and heavy dreams, until the heart is puffed with pride and goes, half shuddering and half joyous, from God's peace. And it was some wrecked angel, blind from tears, who flattered a dean's heart with merry words. My Colleen, I have seen some other girls, restless and ill at ease, but years went by, and they grew like their neighbours and were glad in minding children, working at the churn, and gossiping of weddings and of wakes. For life moves out of a red flare of dreams into a common light of common hours, until old age bring the red flare again.
That's true, but she's too young to know it's true.
She's old enough to know that it is wrong to mope and idle.
I've little blame for her, and mother's tongue were harder still to bear. But for her fancies this is May Eve too, when the good people post about the world, and surely one may think of them tonight. My ear, have you the primroses to fling before the door to make a golden path for them to bring good luck into the house? Remember, they may steal new-married brides after the fall of twilight on May Eve.
Maire Bruin goes over to the window and takes flowers from the bowl and strews them outside the door.
You do well, daughter, because God permits great power to the good people on May Eve.
They can work all their will with primroses, change them to golden money, or little flames to burn up those who do them any wrong.
In a dreamy voice.
I had no sooner flung them by the door than the wind cried and hurried them away. And then a child came running in the wind, and caught them in her hands and fondled them. Her dress was green, her hair was of red gold, her face was pale as water before dawn.
Whose child can this be?
No one's child at all. She often dreams that someone has gone by when there was nothing but a puff of wind.
They will not bring good luck into the house, for they have blown the primroses away. Yet I am glad that I was courteous to them. For are not they likewise children of God?
Colleen, they are the children of the fiend, and they have power till the end of time, when God shall fight with them a great pitched battle, and hack them into pieces.
He will smile, father, perhaps, and open his great door, and call the pretty and kind into his house.
Did but the lawless angels see that door, they would fall, slain by everlasting peace. And when such angels knock upon our doors, who goes with them must drive through the same storm.
A knock at the door. Maire Bruin opens it, and then goes to the dresser, and fills a porringer with milk, and hands it through the door, and takes it back empty, and closes the door.
A little queer old woman cloaked in green, who came to beg a porringer of milk.
The good people go asking milk and fire upon May Eve. Woe on the house that gives, for they have power upon it for a year. I knew you would bring evil on the house.
Who was she?
Both the tongue and face were strange.
Some strangers came last week to Clover Hill. She must be one of them.
I am afraid.
The priest will keep all harm out of the house.
The cross will keep all harm out of the house while it hangs there.
Come, sit beside me, Colleen, and put away your dreams of discontent. For I would have you light up my last days like the good glow of the turf, and when I die I will make you the wealthiest hereabout, for hid away where nobody can find, I have a stocking full of yellow guineas.
You are the fool of every pretty face, and I must pinch and pare, that my son's wife may have all kinds of ribbon for her head.
Do not be cross. She is a right good girl. The butter is by your elbow, Father Hart. My Colleen, have not fate and time and change done well for me and for old Bridget there? We have 100 acres of good land, and sit beside each other at the fire, the wise priest of our parish to our right, and you and our dear son to left of us. To sit beside the board and drink good wine, and watch the turf smoke coiling from the fire, and feel content and wisdom in your heart, this is the best of life. When we are young, we long to tread a way none trod before, but find the excellent old way through love and through the care of children to the hour forbidding fate and time and change good-bye.
A knock at the door. Meyer Bruin opens it, and then takes a sod of turf out of the hearth in the tongs, and goes out through the door. Shaun follows her, and meets her coming in.
What is it that draws you to the chill of the wood? There is a light among the stems of the trees that makes one shiver.
A little queer old man made me a sign to show he wanted fire to light his pipe.
You've given milk and fire upon the unluckiest night of the year, and brought, for all you know, evil upon the house. Before you married you were idle and fine, and went about with ribbons on your head, and now, no, father, I will speak my mind. She is not a fitting wife for any man.
Be quiet, mother.
You are much too cross.
What do I care if I have given this house, where I must hear all day a bitter tongue, into the power of fairies?
You know well how calling the good people by that name, or talking of them over much at all, may bring all kinds of evil on the house.
Come, fairies, take me out of this dull house. Let me have all the freedom I have lost, work when I will, and idle when I will. Fairies, come take me out of this dull world, for I would ride with you upon the wind, run on the top of the dishevelled tide, and dance upon the mountains like a flame.
You cannot know the meaning of your words.
Father, I am right weary of four tongues, a tongue that is too crafty and too wise, a tongue that is too godly and too grave, a tongue that is more bitter than the tide, and a kind tongue too full of drowsy love, and my captivity.
Shaun Bruin comes over to her, and leads her to the settle.
Do not blame me. I often lie awake thinking that all things trouble your bright head. How beautiful it is, such broad, pale brows under a cloudy blossoming of hair. Sit down beside me here. These are too old, and have forgotten they were ever young.
Oh, you are the great doorpost of this house, and I the red nasturtium climbing up.
She takes Shaun's hand, but looks shyly at the priest, and lets it go.
Good daughter, take his hand. By love alone God binds us to himself and to the hearth, and shuts us from the waste beyond his peace, from maddening freedom and bewildering light.
Would that the world were mine to give it to you, with every quiet hearth and barren waste, the maddening freedom of its woods and tides, and the bewildering light upon its hills.
Then I would take and break it in my hands, to see you smile watching it crumble away.
Then I would mould a world of fire and dew, with no one bitter, grave, or overwise, and nothing marred or old to do you wrong, and crowd the enraptured quiet of the sky, with candles burning to your lonely face.
Your looks are all the candles that I need.
Once a fly dancing in a beam of the sun, or the light wind blowing out of the dawn, could fill your heart with dreams none other knew. But now the indissoluble sacrament has mixed your heart that was most proud and cold, with my warm heart forever, and sun and moon must fade, and heaven be rolled up like a scroll. But your white spirit still walk by my spirit.
A voice sings in the distance.
Did you hear something call? Oh, guard me close, because I have said wicked things tonight, and seen a pale-faced child with red gold hair, and longed to dance upon the winds with her.
A voice close to the door.
The wind blows out of the gates of the day. The wind blows over the lonely of heart, and the lonely of heart is withered away, while the fairies dance in a place apart, shaking their milk-white feet in a ring, tossing their milk-white arms in the air. For they hear the wind laugh and murmur and sing of a land where even the old are fair, and even the wise are merry of tongue. But I hear a reed of colonnade say, when the wind has laughed and murmured and sung, the lonely of heart is withered away.
I am right happy, and would make all else be happy too. I hear a child outside, and will go bring her in out of the cold.
He opens the door. A child, dressed in pale green, and with red gold hair, comes into the house.
I tire of winds and waters and pale lights.
You are most welcome. It is cold out there. Who would think to face such cold on a May eve?
And when I tire of this warm little house, there is one here who must away, away, to where the woods, the stars, and the white streams are holding a continual festival.
Oh, listen to her dreamy and strange talk. Come to the fire.
I will sit upon your knee, for I have run from where the winds are born, and long to rest my feet a little while.
She sits upon his knee.
How pretty you are!
Your hair is wet with dew.
I will warm your chilly feet.
She takes the child's feet in her hands.
You must have come a long, long way, for I have never seen your pretty face, and must be tired and hungry. Here is some bread and wine.
The wine is bitter. Old mother, have you no sweet food for me?
I have some honey.
She goes into the next room.
You are a dear child. The mother was quite cross before you came.
Bridget returns with the honey, and goes to the dresser, and fills a porringer with milk.
She is the child of gentle people. Look at her white hands and at her pretty dress. I brought you some new milk, but wait a while, and I will put it by the fire to warm. For things well fitted for poor folk like us would never please a high-born child like you.
Old mother, my old mother, the green dawn brightens above while you blow up the fire, and evening finds you spreading the white cloth. The young may lie in bed and dream and hope, but you work on because your heart is old.
The young are idle.
Old father, you are wise, and all the years have gathered in your heart to whisper of wonders that are gone. The young must sigh through many a dream and hope, but you are wise because your heart is old.
Oh, who would think to find so young a child loving old age and wisdom?
Bridget gives her more bread and honey.
No more, mother.
What a small bite! The milk is ready now. What a small sip!
Put on my shoes, old mother, for I would like to dance now I have eaten. The reeds are dancing by Colonnade Lake, and I would like to dance until the reeds and the white waves have danced themselves to sleep.
Having put on her shoes, she gets off the old man's knees, and is about to dance, but suddenly sees the crucifix, and shrieks, and covers her eyes.
What is that ugly thing on the black cross?
You cannot know how naughty your words are. That is our blessed Lord.
Hide it away!
I have begun to be afraid again.
Hide it away!
That would be wickedness.
The tortured thing! Hide it away!
Her parents are to blame.
That is the image of the Son of God.
The child puts her arm around his neck and kisses him.
Hide it away! Hide it away!
No, no.
Because you are so young and little a child, I will go take it down.
Hide it away and cover it out of sight and out of mind.
Father Hart takes it down, and carries it towards the inner room.
Since you have come into this barony, I will instruct you in our blessed faith. Being a clever child, you will soon learn.
To the others.
We must be tender with all budding things. Our Maker let no thought of Calvary trouble the morning stars in their first song.
Puts the crucifix in the inner room.
Here is level ground for dancing. I will dance. The wind is blowing on the waving reeds. The wind is blowing on the heart of man.
She dances, swaying about like the reeds. To Sean Bruin.
Just now, when she came near, I thought I heard other small steps beating upon the floor, and a faint music blowing in the wind, invisible pipes giving her feet the time.
I heard no steps but hers.
Look to the bolt, because the unholy powers are abroad.
To the child.
Come over here, and if you promise me not to talk wickedly of holy things, I will give you something.
Bring it me, old father.
Martine Bruin goes into the next room.
I will have queen cakes when you come to me.
Martine Bruin returns and lays a piece of money on the table. The child makes a gesture of refusal.
It will buy lots of toys. See how it glitters.
Come tell me, do you love me?
I love you.
Ah, but you love this fireside.
I love you. When the Almighty puts so great a share of his own ageless youth into a creature, to look is but to love.
But you love him above.
She is blaspheming.
To Marion.
And do you love me?
I do not know.
You love that great tall fellow over there, yet I could make you ride upon the winds. run on the top of the disheveled tide, and dance upon the mountains like a flame.
Queen of the angels and kind saints, defend us! Some dreadful fate has fallen. A while ago the wind cried out and took the primroses, and she ran by me laughing in the wind, and I gave milk and fire, and she came in and made you hide the blessed crucifix.
You fear because of her wild, pretty prattle. She knows no better.
To the child.
Child, how old are you?
When winter sleep is abroad, my hair grows thin, my feet unsteady. When the leaves awaken, my mother carries me in her golden arms. I will soon put on my womanhood and marry. Then spirits of wood and water, but who can tell when I was born for the first time? I think I am much older than the eagle cock that blinks and blinks on Ballygolly Hill, and he is the oldest thing under the moon.
She's of the fairy people.
I am Brig's daughter. I sent my messengers for milk and fire, and then I heard one call to me and came.
They all, except Sean and Mair Bruin, gather behind the priest for protection. Rising.
Though you have made all these obedient, you have not charmed my sight and won from me a wish or gift to make you powerful. I'll turn you from the house.
No, I will face her.
Because you took away the crucifix. I am so mighty that there is none that can pass, unless I will it, where my feet have danced, or where I twirled my finger-tops.
Sean tries to approach her and cannot.
Look, look, there's something stops him. Look how he moves his hands as though he rubbed them on a wall of glass.
I will confront this mighty spirit alone.
They cling to him and hold him back, while she strews primroses.
No one whose heart is heavy with human tears can cross these little cressets of the wood.
Be not afraid, the Father is with us, and all the 9 angelic hierarchies, the holy martyrs and the innocents, the adoring magi in their coats of mail, and he who died and rose on the 3rd day, and Mary with her 7 times wounded heart.
The child ceases strewing the primroses, and kneels upon the settle beside Mair, and puts her arms about her neck.
Cry, daughter, to the angels and the saints.
You shall go with me, newly married bride, and gaze upon a merrier multitude, white-armed Nuala, Aengus of the birds, Fiacra of the hurtling foam, and him who is the ruler of the western host, Finvarra, and their land of heart's desire, where beauty has no ebb, decay no flood, but joy is wisdom, time an endless song. I kiss you when the world begins to fade.
Daughter, I call you unto home and love.
Stay, and come with me, newly married bride, for if you hear him, you grow like the rest, bear children, cook, be mindful of the churn, and wrangle over butter, fowl, and eggs, and sit at last there, old and bitter of tongue, watching the white stars war upon your hopes.
Awake out of that trance, and cover up your eyes and ears.
She must both look and listen, for only the soul's choice can save her now. Daughter, I point you out the way to heaven.
But I can lead you, newly married bride, where nobody gets old and crafty and wise, where nobody gets old and godly and grave, where nobody gets old and bitter of tongue, and where kind tongues bring no captivity. For we are only true to the far lights, we follow singing over valley and hill.
By the dear name of the one crucified, I bid you, Moira Bruin, come to me.
I keep you in the name of your own heart.
She leaves the settle, and, stopping, takes up a mass of primroses, and kisses them.
We have great power tonight, dear golden folk, for he took down and hid the crucifix, and my invisible brethren fill the house. I hear their footsteps going up and down. Oh, they shall soon rule all the hearts of men, and own all lands. Last night they merrily danced about his chapel belfry.
To Mair.
Come away, I hear my brethren bidding us away.
I will go fetch the crucifix again.
They hang about in terror, and prevent him from moving.
The enchanted flowers will kill us if you go.
They turn the flowers to little twisted flames.
The little twisted flames burn up the heart.
I hear them crying, newly married bride, come to the woods and waters and pale lights.
I will go with you.
She is lost, alas.
Standing by the door.
But clinging mortal hope must fall from you, for we who ride the winds, run on the waves and dance upon the mountains, are more light than dewdrops on the banners of the dawn.
Oh, take me with you.
Sean Bruin goes over to her.
Beloved, do not leave me. Remember when I met you by the well and took your hand in mine and spoke of love?
Dear face, dear voice.
Come, newly married bride.
I always loved her world, and yet,
sinks into his arms. From the door.
White bird, come with me, little bird.
she calls to me.
Come with me, little bird.
I can hear songs and dancing.
Stay with me.
I think that I would stay, and yet.
Come, little bird with crest of gold.
Very softly.
And yet.
Come, little bird with silver feet.
Maire dies, and the child goes.
She is dead.
Come from that image. Body and soul are gone. You have thrown your arms about a drift of leaves or bowl of an ash tree changed into her image.
Thus do the spirits of evil snatch their prey, almost out to the very hand of God. And day by day their power is more and more, and men and women leave old paths, for pride comes knocking with thin knuckles on the heart.
A voice singing outside.
The wind blows out of the gates of the day, the wind blows over the lonely of heart, and the lonely of heart is withered away, while the fairies dance in a place apart, shaking their milk-white feet in a ring, tossing their milk-white arms in the air, for they hear the wind laugh and murmur and sing of a land where even the old are fair, and even the wise are merry of tongue. But I hear a reed of colonnade say, when the wind has laughed and murmured and sung, the lonely of heart is withered away.
The song is taken up by many voices who sing loudly, as if in triumph. Some of the voices seem to come from within the house. Curtain. End of The Land of Heart's Desire by William Butler Yeats.